Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Ask the Expert session with the test base for a Microsoft 365 team. I am Mustafa Garba, a senior program manager on the test base team based out of Lagos, Nigeria, and I have my teammates with me today. Mimi, Amalachuku, Jacqueline, and Gozie on the call as well. So they'll be helping us. Mimi is going to be taking a lot of questions that you'll be asking, as well as Jacqueline. And Gozie and Jacqueline will also be looking through the chat to get your questions answered and make sure they're surfaced for us to answer. And so we have our we shared the Microsoft Digital Event Code of Conduct guidelines in the chat, so you can have a look, familiarize yourself with it, and just understand what the guidelines are. And in terms of next slide, maybe. So you could use the chat box to ask questions, post anonymously, or use your name. Questions will appear once approved, and once you can upvote your favorite using a thumbs up. And then we'll answer your questions, and we'll do our best to make sure that the most popular questions are surfaced. So if you see a question that you also want to ask, or relates to you, please make sure to use the thumbs up button and help it surface to the top, so we can answer those questions that are most popular. So next we have the just to let you know, the session will be recorded, and so please don't record on your own, and make use of the chat window and to help us moderate appropriately. So now, I know a lot of you have joined from you've either joined this session because you were able to look at the teams, were able to join the test-based session, or you missed the session and you'd like to learn a little bit more about what test-based is. And so before we get right into the questions, I'm going to pass it on to Mimi to help us to walk through what test-based is, and do a quick primer and also a possible demo before we dive into the questions. So Mimi.
Yeah, thanks, Mustafa. So hi, everyone, and welcome to Test Base for Microsoft 365's Ask the Expert session. So we are glad to have you join us today. We know the Microsoft Build event has been going on for the past couple of days, and with a lot of exciting sessions and so many teams in Microsoft, talking to you about different products that we're working on. We're happy to have you join us today. Like as Mustafa mentioned, I realized that a lot of you may have caught us in our roundtable breakout sessions yesterday or the day before that. So we are here to answer any follow-up questions, to set better context, and of course to connect with you. So please feel free to post on the chat, ask us your questions. I will be happy to answer all of them. So just in case you're wondering, let me just set a bit of context about what test-based for Microsoft 365 does. So imagine you as a software vendor or just a company, and you have your company apps, and you're always thinking about, with Microsoft pushing out security updates and feature updates very often, have you ever wondered how your applications are going to, behave when this updates are sent out into the market? What have you ever wondered, how will your end customers, seamlessly update their systems and still run your apps without any hitches or any glitches? Well, this is the bridge that that test base for Microsoft 365 is here to, cover up for you. So what we do as a service is that we enable you to actually test your applications against the pre-release versions of those Microsoft updates up to 2 or 3 weeks before those updates go into the market. Now, what this does for you as a company is that it gives you the leverage and then the opportunity to learn how your applications are going to behave against those updates. And then if you notice any bugs or glitches, we will work with you to remediate those issues so that whenever those updates are finally sent out into the market, you are ready and your customers can, happily download and upgrade and everything continues working seamlessly. So let me walk you through, a little slide deck of how this works. So once a customer is onboarded onto Microsoft for 365, they can begin by easily uploading their packages for testing. With a successful upload, the packages are tested against Windows pre-release updates. And after 24 hours, the customer can deep dive into insights and regression analysis on a dashboard, on a portal dashboard. Now, if the package failed a test, then the customer can leverage insights such as memory regression analysis or CPU regressions to remediate and then update the packages as needed. As I mentioned earlier, we would work closely with all our partners to remediate these issues and make sure that all bugs or all issues are solved before the releases hit the market. Now, after all the packages are being tested by the customer, it can all be managed in one place. And this can help with such needs as uploading and updating packages to reflect new versions of applications. And as new Windows pre-release updates become available, the packages are automatically tested along with another round of insights. As packages are successfully tested, they can be delivered to customers with confidence. Now I'm going to pause here to see if you guys are excited. Give us a shout out on the chat. Tell us who you are, where you're joining us from, what company you work with, and if you've ever heard of a test space for Microsoft 365. Please feel free to drop that in the chat window as we move along. Mustafa?
All right, thanks, Mimi. So as we wait for more questions to come in, Mimi, could you talk a little bit about some of the app insights that we get that customers are able to get from their packages once they upload them to TestBase?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I think I'll kick this off with a quick demo about the TestBase. And if you can just give me a second, I'll switch my screen to the portal and we can show you. I'll give a second just to be sure that my screen is up and showing. Okay, hopefully everybody can see my screen. So this is a demo, of our service portal. So if you sign up with us, this is the view that you get as a partner, right? This is your portal dashboard. And I'm going to walk you through some of the steps, if you want to upload a new package. Now, what we consider a package in a TestBase is a combination of, your application binaries and your test scripts, and of course, any dependencies that your application needs to be able to run seamlessly on the portal. Now, this could be anything from, maybe some Python APIs or some .NET framework, whatever it is that your application needs to be able to execute seamlessly on the portal. You can package up everything in one zip folder and then upload to the portal. Now, if you want to go through the process, you go to the menu item that says upload new package, right? And then just in a few simple steps, we want you to, give us the name of the application, say Contoso, that's the package name. You can also give us the version that you're trying to upload, let's say 3.0. At every point, the portal will kind of like validate the fields that you're typing in. Now, after you provide the package name and the package version, right, you can select the type of test that you want to run on the portal. On TestBase, we offer two types of tests to all our partners. There is the out-of-box test. And what this does is it simply installs your application. It will launch it and close it 30 times and then uninstall. So this is just a quick check to be sure that your application can still launch even after your customers have applied Microsoft updates on their machines. Then we also have the functional tests. Now, what this does, it gives you the flexibility to test for other kinds of compatibility testing or security testing or functional testing, whatever it is that you want to test against your applications. You are able to upload scripts that will, call up your applications and run those tests and surface results for you on the portal dashboard. So here I'm going to go ahead and select both out-of-box and functional tests, just to give you, a peep into how this actually works. Now, after you select the kind of tests, you can select the kind of Windows updates that you want your applications to be validated against. It could be the security updates that are released monthly, or it could be the feature updates for whenever Microsoft is pushing a new version of Windows into the market. So here, as usual, I'm going to select everything just so we can see how everything works. We want to give you, a really good view of how the entire system works. So now that I've selected two update types right here, I'm being prompted to select the products I want to test my applications against for security updates. So here you can see that we test against, a few versions of Windows 10, and then Server 16, Server 2016, and Server 2019. So I can randomly select, a few Windows 10 versions to test against, and then maybe a couple of server versions to test against as well. So once I have my selections, then that, by the way, is for the security updates. Then moving on to the selections for the feature updates. We usually, if you're part of Windows Insider program, you probably already know about the Insider Beta channel. But if you're not familiar with that, this is the channel that, upcoming Windows releases are flighted for Windows Insiders to be able to test, their applications against before this reaches the market. So we test our customers' applications against the Insider Beta channel releases. So here I'm going to select the beta channel releases as well. And then I select also, for the purposes of feature update testing, the baseline that I would like to, compare the new and upcoming release against. So this is, I'll select Windows 10, 20H2. So this is just a few quick steps for the first page where I'm providing the test details. And just before I jump into the next step, I'd like to ask Mustafa, are there any questions? Does the audience have any questions? Okay, good.
Yeah, we have a few questions. So
sure.
So since we have two very popular ones, so I'll start with the order in which they came in. So sure. Is this only available to updates or applications from the M365 suite or Microsoft apps, or can this be used for different applications? So maybe Jacqueline?
Yeah, so I'll take that. So this service is actually open to all software vendors and even enterprise customers, right? So what we're trying to do is to get you to upload your application that runs on the Windows desktop. So if you upload those applications, then we test them against Microsoft Windows updates, which includes the security updates that are released monthly and then the feature updates for whenever new releases of Windows are being pushed into the market. So basically,
Thanks.
it's open to all external customers. So come one, come all, upload your apps, and then we'll kick off the testing. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Mimi, for adding. I think to add to that, it's for Microsoft. It's mostly for I think Jacqueline added some questions, and it's let me read out Jacqueline's additional insight, which is we started off with the Windows OS platform, but also on our roadmap is Office 365, Edge, WVD, Windows Virtual Desktop, and if you have any other platforms that interest you, please share in the chat window as well, and we can add that to our roadmap and reach out for additional conversations. So feel free to use the chat window to carry on that conversation. So the next question we have here is this working also for Win32 desktop applications?
Yeah, so thank you for the question, and that's a very good one. So currently, we only support Win64 on our portal, but then of course we know that for every customer there's so many varied requirements, and we're always willing to reach out to all potential partners to know what is of the most interest to you, what is the most important scenario for your particular use case, and then we can work with you to see how we can include those features on the portal.
All right, thanks, Mimi.
Sure.
There's another question here, which says, can we run automated UI tests on TestSpace?
Well, now I would say that is another very good and interesting question. So this is something that the team is working on, and even though it may not be currently available, but it's very, very much in our radar to ship this feature for automated UI testing.
Thanks for adding that, Mimi. I think to add on that, we do have we do have automated functional testing, and so if you have if you want to functionally exercise your application end to end, we are able to upload your test scripts, and you're able to upload your test scripts, and we run those whenever a test execution is triggered. We also have plans to make that more automated in the future. And so as Jacqueline had said earlier, if you would like to hear more about your use cases, and so if you have any peculiar use cases for your own application, please do ask those questions in the chat. So Mimi,
yep.
Could you, and we have another question here, which is getting to the next point, which is, can you show us what the test results look like? We want to know what those test results are, Mimi. So.
Yeah, I'm really happy that this person asked this question, and if there are no other pending questions, I could just move through the demo so that we can get to the test results part. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's okay, Mimi. You can walk through the test results, and then we get back to the next question.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So getting back to my screen, for the upload process, once you put in your test details, you click on next to go to the next step. So this is the point where we want you to upload your zip file. So just click on the upload zip file, just the regular upload process. And once you've uploaded that, I'm just going to quickly breeze through this so that we can get to the juicy part, which is the test results. All right. So once you've uploaded your zip file, you can go to next. At this point, because you're uploading a zip file, actually, we want you to just tell us where we can find, for the out-of-box test, we want you to tell us where we can find your install script within the zip folder. right? So here, I'm just going to type in some sample paths, right? Install. Probably the same thing. Tell us where we can find your launch script, your close script, and the script for uninstall, right? So, and you also have this optional setting to tell us whether you'd like us to reboot the VM, after we install your script. So you can select that. And then we do practically the same thing for functional testing, right? So we realize that different customers have different needs, and perhaps just one script might not be enough for your functional test use cases. So you can add more scripts as you want. And then for each, you tell us, where we can find this. Tell us if you want to reboot after execution. Tell us where we can find the second script, and so on, right? Just to know that for the functional testing, we actually execute the test serially, and then we can move on to the next step, which is the test options. So this is just for the purposes of the functional test. You tell us at what point during the execution of your functional test scripts you would like us to apply the Windows update. So it could be after script 1, script 2, or 3, depending on the number of scripts you've uploaded. So, and then after that, you can review your selections and then click on create, and this will upload your application. Now, getting to the question, once you upload, we run validations, and then you can come on here to the manage packages to see how your uploaded applications are doing. They could either be accepted or not verified, but if it's accepted, then we go ahead to schedule your applications for test runs with our pre-release Windows updates, right? And then, so this is a sample of what the manage packages page is like. Then getting to the test results, I'll go to the test summary tab for you to see a few sample test results, right? So we have 4 tests on here. We know that we can see that 3 have failed and 1, passed. So let me drill down into the one that failed, because that is probably the most interesting part of it. We see that there are failures for security update testing, and there are also failures in the feature update testing. So like I said, this is just the demo, and then we'll drill down to see which of the tests failed. So we can see here that the test executed on Windows 10 20H2 failed. And let's see here, it was tested against the 5B release, and we can look at the details to see more information, right? So clicking on see details, we can see that for the functional test on this particular, products, this particular Windows OS, there are failures when the functional test cases were run, and then failures when the out-of-box test cases were run, right? So I'm going to click on, let's say, CPU utilization to see where the failures come from, right? So here you will notice that what we do is we present to you, a comparison of the test that we currently run and, compared to the one of last month's release, right? So here we realize that CPU utilization was the failure point for this particular test, and we want to see. So this gives you like a drill down on how your applications performed in terms of, utilizing CPU resources while it was being tested. So here we can see that for the 5B release right here, the average utilization was 22.98%. And then we compare it to the one for the 4B release, and then we see that the average utilization was 13.84%. So that means that your application has actually regressed. And this is where we tell you, okay, so contoso.exe is actually regressing in terms of CPU utilization, right? And if you're curious to see other test results, we also have this. something similar for memorization to see if your application is doing well or if it's regressing. So we can see here the application, there was no memory regression inferred during the test. We can also see how your application is doing in terms of reliability. So here we can tell you whether there's a regression, whether there are any crashes or any unresponding signals as well. And then lastly, you can also just take a high level look on the script execution. You can see, you can also see, how your install scripts are doing, launch, close, and uninstall. So I'm going to pause here to see if there are any questions around the test results.
All right. So I know we have 5 minutes, Mimi. So we have a few other questions in the chat window.
Sure.
But, if you could maybe just call out, quickly, skip to the screen with the script execution and reliability, and just leave it there so everyone on the call can see while we answer the rest of the questions.
Okay.
All right.
Hopefully you can see the script execution page, because that is
all right. So we have a question by Giovanni asking, if I wanted to test whether applications in an enterprise environment work on the latest Win 10 version, 21H1, could I do multiple applications and test that with TestBase, or would I have to create a separate test for each individual app?
Sorry, let me get this straight. If you want to test your application against the latest Win 10 version, right?
Yes, in an enterprise environment.
Right.
Could the question is, could I do multiple applications and test that with TestBase, or do I have to create a separate app for each a separate test for each individual app?
So I think it really just depends on your particular use case, right? If you're uploading individual applications to the portal, for each application that you're uploading, we require you to, zip it up in the same folder with the test scripts that are going to be executed on that particular application, right? And in addition to the test scripts, any other dependencies that you require. So you upload this, and then you can select for it to be tested against a particular product, which could be Windows 10, 20H1, or multiple products actually, which could be 20H2, 20H1, and just a whole bunch of them, including server products as well. I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Mimi. I think to add to that, that's also one of the interesting use cases that we currently have on our roadmap, and we are looking at ways to make it more convenient for enterprises to test the applications. And so, Giovanni, if, we would also love to hear a little bit more about your use cases, and so we'll probably share some details about how we can learn a little bit more about that. And so another question we have is, are scripts only accepted in the PS1 format, PowerShell?
Yeah, so currently we support scripts, PowerShell scripts, but we're always open to innovation, and depending on the feedback that we get from customers, we keep adding new features and kind of making the system and the service more robust.
All right. Thanks, Mimi. So we have two questions. I know we're almost over time, so we'll take those two, and then we can wrap it up. And so, for an app to be tested, do we have to create a new test every month, or can we reuse the test and compare them, compare the data from last month?
Yeah. So you don't have to create a new test every month. So once you package up your application and upload to the portal, we keep running those test cases until you, as a company, you decide that you've probably, updated your application and test cases in-house, and then you want to apply the same updates on the test-based service, so that what you're seeing on test-based service will be a true reflection of what you have in your internal testing environment. So short answer, no, you don't have to upload new tests every month. You only upload on a need-to basis.
Yeah, and that's correct. So you upload just one time, and whenever a new release is available, we just run them against those tests that you've uploaded. I know Thomas has another question, which is, can I use Power Automate Desktop for running functional tests? Is it possible to have outbound connectivity? That is, for example, a desktop app needs to connect to a licensed server. So Mimi, that's a very interesting question. Do you want to answer that?
Yeah, and I'm really happy that Thomas is asking this question. If you don't mind, Thomas, we're going to be dropping our email on the chat, so please reach out to us so that we can, deep dive into your particular use case. But in answer to your question, Power Automate and connection to your internal testing environments via VPN is not available, right? But it is in our roadmap, and we're talking to customers to see how we can bring this to the test-based service. Would love to talk to you about it. So please drop us your email, or drop us an email on the email that Jacqueline is going to post on the chat window, so that we can, explore this scenario with you. Thank you for the question, by the way.
All right, thanks. So Mimi, could you, switch to the deck so we can share, some information about how, where everyone in the audience can learn a little bit more about TestBase and how they can participate in our preview.
Yeah, sure.
So
absolutely.
Right now, TestBase is in private preview, and we have plans to get into public preview soon. But if you'd like to learn a little bit more about TestBase, we have a series of how-to videos for new and intended for new and current TestBase customers. We also have an email, testbasepreview@microsoft.com, where you could shoot us an email. You could send us an email and talk to us about your current use cases, and if you'd like to enroll in the program and you have a lot of questions. And if you have ISV partners that you currently work with or applications that you use, you could also nominate some of your software partners with using the link, which Jacqueline will post in the chat. And then if you'd like to jump right in and sign up for TestBase, you can also create an account by visiting the link, which again Jacqueline will share. It's aka.ms/testbasepilot, and you could create your account and get started with TestBase. But feel free to send us an email and ask any questions. And if you also want to sign up, we know there are a few interesting use cases we found today, and so if we want to continue those conversations, Thomas and Giovanni, so feel free to send us an email and we can take it up from there. All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for making our time to join this event, and it's been a pleasure being able to answer your questions. And we look forward to we look forward to hearing from you. We also have you can check out all of the M365 build sessions as well. We have where we talk about some of the interesting new products and how we've and how we are continuously innovating to meet your needs.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Mustafa. We hope this session has been very helpful and insightful to you. Please don't forget to reach out to us so that we can carry the conversations further. Thank you, and have a great rest of the Microsoft Build event.
All right, thank you, everyone, and enjoy.